Welcome back to another Back Half Hustle, where Terry Kelly, my co-host, and myself help you agents with just different topics of business and, support to know that you're not alone, right? So just like even last week, or last week we took off because we had fall breaks with kids and stuff. But the week before, we talked about you not being alone, right? And I think that was a great subject, and it's going to lead into today's where we talk about coaching. Now, we're not talking about us coaching you. We're talking about our experience with coaching programs, with coaches, you know, what we got out of them, what we didn't, why we moved, and all those kind of things to help you decide whether you do need a coach, go out and seek one or you don't, right? So, Terry, tell me what's important about having a coach?
So I first joined coaching. I was at a brokerage, and I realized that you learn from the people around you, right? And the people around me weren't really teaching me a lot. So when I joined coaching, the first and foremost was simply just to hear from other people what they were doing. And so that, when choosing a coach, I think it's important that you have to go find someone that's doing the things that you want to do and do it. Um, of course, I've been through multiple coaches. And for the longest time, I thought, well, this is a waste of time and this is a waste of money. And the reason was because while I had people surrounding me, the actual coach that I thought I was paying wasn't what I was getting anything from. I was getting something from the people around me.
Yeah. And I think it's where you have to go in as an agent and decide what do you need out of coaching? What are you trying to get out of it, really, right? Because if you're not clear on what you're trying to get to or what you're trying to accomplish, then coaching probably isn't going to work because you're going to get frustrated with either hiring the wrong coach or the program or whatever, and you're going to be like, it doesn't ever work and you're never going to do it, right? So I think you have to have those clear expectations and intentions of what it is that you're trying to get out of it and then go seek that. I'm a big believer of hiring coaches who are still in production of some sort of matter, right? Whether they have a team and they manage the team, or they're still boots on the ground setting appointments and stuff, right? There's going to be a lot of people out there that are coaches and stuff that, haven't been in production for 10 years. And in my opinion, it's like, then how do you know what's going on in today? Things have changed in 10 years. So if you were in business 20 years ago and you just retired 10 years ago, I mean, those things may or may not still work in today's market, right? So a lot of times I believe having a coach that's still boots on the ground in some capacity works, right? To help you. Now, that's only if you're trying to increase your production or whatever, right? And you're
Well,
trying
it's
to
like you
learn.
said, it depends on what you need
Yeah.
coaching for.
And
Yeah.
that's why I brought that up because it's only if you as an agent are trying to get more production out of it, right? You want that type of coach that's boots on the ground. If you need a coach that, where you're having certain challenges and you need to talk things through and get a different perspective because they have a high producing team or whatnot, and you're trying to get that out of your team, then you go find a coach like that, right? It's what are you trying to get out of coaching? That's what you go seek. There's a ton of coaches out there that are great. And then, but it's finding that right one for you.
Well, and so here's what I'll say. So some coaching programs, when you get started, right, they make you take a quiz, and in that quiz you tell them things. Well, what if you don't really know what you need a coach for because you haven't gotten there yet, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's why coaching is so touchy with it, because until you've been exposed to it, you don't know. So I went into coaching and I said, okay, I need this. This is what I think I need, right? It asked me all these questions, and I got in there and I met all these people that were in my group and etc. But the coach wasn't, it was like a rah-rah session. It wasn't really like coaching.
Yeah.
And so I had to realize that's not what I need. I don't need a rah-rah session. I don't need you to tell me I'm doing good. What I need is this. But it took me to be with someone to try it out for a little while. And I think for the longest time, everyone's like, oh, well, you can't leave that coach because, well, to heck with that. You're paying. So you can leave that coach if you're not getting what you need. But I felt bad. And so I stayed with that particular coach for maybe a year better. And finally, I just said, I feel like I'm wasting my money. So I switched to a different program well, a different coach within the same program. And I interviewed again, and I had three. And the person that I chose on that one, for the moment, they gave me what I needed. And I was like, okay, this is it. Okay. And then I'm like, yeah, here we go again. This isn't what I need anymore. And I knew a coach that was doing exactly what I needed. Like, I need this. And so I went to him and I'm like, hey, I need this. Sorry, my son decided to call on FaceTime. So I'm like, hey, I need this. And
Bring him on
can
this
you,
call. Let's talk to him.
I know that. So he's like, specific, like, I need this. And he's like, okay, I can do that. I'll
Yeah.
be darned, he didn't do it. Like, literally didn't do it. And so I think it's really important that you dig into that. We're both in a coaching program. We've been in a lot of the same coaching programs with different coaches. But the coaching program that we're in now, one of my really good friends said something to me, and she said, Terry, you hear him. You've never heard your other coaches. And I didn't understand what she meant. And she said, Your other coaches would talk to you and they wouldn't mean anything, like you wouldn't absorb it. All three of the ones you had with this company, you didn't absorb anything. But this guy says something to you and you hear it and you do it and it makes sense. And so I had to realize it was because you weren't just saying do something, or you weren't just giving an overall, like, this is what the world, it's almost like going into a brokerage when you're a brand new broker and they say,
Yeah.
send your business cards to everybody. It wasn't a blanket. It was,
Yeah.
here's true tactical. I know what you're going through. I heard what you need in your business, and I'm going to show you exactly what you need in your business to make that correct.
And here's a good question I want you to answer. Um, and it could be one, because you're a broker, and two, you're in coaching. Why do I need coaching if my brokerage, or the company I'm with is supposed to help me?
Yeah, so we'll answer that for a really high level. So, specifically in our brokerage, the broker role is more for support and more for compliance. Um, in a standard brokerage that has, we'll say, 100 or less agents, what I've seen in the past, based off experience, is the people that are producing are the people they want to support. The people that aren't producing, they're not going to put as much energy. And a lot of times those companies will build out, well, here's a trainer, or here's this, or here's that. But again, they're only going to train one specific agenda. Here you go. This is what you need to do. This is what works. It's those people that take that basic, here's what works, and build off of it are the people that actually succeed in this business.
Yeah.
There's so many different ways. Like, we were on a call a few minutes ago and I heard the word door knocking. I'm never going to door knock, ever. Not going to do it.
My
Cold
kids door
call.
knocked for me at my open house this weekend.
Well, that's it. And I'll tell you, I had a coach that's what they said. They said, hey, when you're having an open house, door knock the neighborhood. I used to send some of the agents on my team, this one guy, Alan, it was the funniest thing in the world. I said, Alan, go door knock this neighborhood. And I gave him all these flyers, and he did. And all you would hear as he was walking up was, the door cams, they're whispering and they're hooting out. It was the funniest thing in the world to me. And I laughed so hard. One
Yeah.
of them got the police called on him. Like, I don't have time for all that. I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
know. I know it works for people. I know it's like showing you go above and beyond. I don't mail
Yeah.
postcards to I just that's not who I am. But maybe I could make some changes by doing that. But again, they're teaching you all the same thing. Like, they have tunnel vision. Okay, you door knock, you this, you that, you that. I'm not doing that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
think outside of the
And,
box and I'm
and
gonna
I
figure
think
it out.
that's a good way as agents when you hire a brokerage in your company, you go and with the right expectations is your broker is there to help keep you out of trouble, really. I
That's it.
mean, right? And have that support of those contracts so that you or the brokerage does not get sued. So
Correct.
you can go in interviewing them and asking them, okay, well, what does your training look like? Oh, well, we have the best training. Well, what does that look like? Okay, so but are you teaching this same training to all the agents? Oh, and what if I don't want to do that? How are you going to help me on other things that I want to do, right? And that's a good way for you to interview coaches and brokerages. But you have to
Well,
have that mindset, right? I think.
I'm going to tell you just differently with that. When you're talking about brokerage and when you're talking about coaches, I would be a little indifferent in this. As a brokerage, it's not necessarily what you give me, what support you give me, all those things. What's my splits? All that's not important. It's what do I think I need? As a new agent, you don't know what you need. So ask them, what do you give me? What do I get? Because when I first got my license, I thought interviewing was I was interviewing for a job for them to want me, and that's not the case.
Hmm.
It's you interviewing them because in the end, you're paying them to work for them.
Yeah.
On the other side of coaching, it's a little different. Like I'm paying you, but you need it's the same concept to that degree. Like you need to be giving me what I need for the money that I'm giving you.
And it's true, but we are paying our brokerages too, right? I mean,
Yeah,
they
that's
take money
yeah, we
out
are.
of our compensation. We're
Mhm.
paying them. So it's yes, you go in asking those questions. What do I need? What do I get? What is this? How are you going to help me get to this goal? What does it look like really? And even from a coaching standpoint, you got to ask those questions as well. But you yourself have to have what it is that you're trying to get. What are you trying to get out of a brokerage? What are you trying to get out of a coach? What are you trying to get out of your real estate career? You know, and that's where you start with is what do you really want? Because everybody's different. Some people just want to sell 5 houses a year. Great. They're doing it part-time and that's all that matters to them. Some people want to build a legacy over it and sell 1,000 homes a year. Okay,
Mhm.
great. What is it going to take to get there? What is it that you want? And you yourself can only answer that question. And then you go into the coaching world and get a mentor or a coach or whatever and tell them, this is where I'm trying to get to. Have you been there? Are you still boots on the ground to get there? Or how can you help me get there? What are the
How many
things
people have you helped in the past to get
to
there?
get there? Right? Ask these questions for this. And if you feel that the coach that you're interviewing sounds robotic or redundant, maybe they only have that one way to teach and you're not going to get what you want.
Right.
I think it's the same, right? Like even in sports, we want a coach that's going to make us better, not necessarily and push us, not necessarily just cheer us on. Hey, attaboy, good job.
Mhm.
Hey, and you never get better because they're always just saying you're doing a good job when in reality you're not, right? Sometimes we need that coach that's going to put us in our place and say, you suck, but don't
Right.
worry. I have the tools and the strategies and the tactics to make you not suck, right? And I think those type of coaches are better, in my opinion, because they're not just you're paying them and they're not just going to be telling you, good job, Terry, good job, keep doing what you're doing. And then a year goes by now and you still ain't sold a damn house. And you're like, I just wasted $12,000 or whatever it costs nowadays. And it's like, no, you want those authentic coaches that are. And if you can't take that type of feedback, coaching experience ain't going to be good for you if you're not coachable.
Well, and I was just about to add to what you were saying, and that is you very much need to be the open-minded person that is open to constructive criticism, who is open to thinking outside of the box. And one thing I'll say about the coach that I coach with now, and that is I can never say I need something without them asking me a series of questions of why I need it. And they never give me an answer. They always make me figure it out on my own.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it used to make me really mad because I'm like, dang, can't you just give me the answer? And the best answer was given to me.
Yeah.
I can't think for you. You have to think for yourself. And if you have a problem and we're going to talk around it and we're going to figure it out, and then you're going to figure it out for yourself. And guess what? Most likely you're going to do the work because you figured it out on your own versus me saying, hey, do this, and you don't agree with it.
Yeah. And the other thing I think you got to make sure that I'm not saying that you get the ability to call your coach every single day and have questions, but
Mhm.
you want one that at least offers some flexibility, I think, right? It can't be where, well, we only meet on Tuesdays for 30 minutes every other week, and that's all you get. Well, shit, what if I have a client? Am I supposed to tell my client no to come to my, like, what kind of flexibility do you have? Can I text you every now and then? Maybe I don't need a call this week. Maybe I just need a check-in, and stuff like that. Like, what does that look like?
Yep.
And see if that aligns with you to have that ability to maybe text. Maybe you're having a hard effing day, and it's like, man, I just need somebody to talk to. Hey, coach, I am having a day. Can I just jump on a 10-minute call to just talk it out and get it off my chest, right? Or whatever. There's some coaches that say, yeah, let's do it. There's some that say, sorry, you got to wait till next Tuesday for our scheduled call. And then, by then you're like in a downward
I'm
world
over
fit
it.
for the
It's
entire week
everlasting.
because you felt bad about the day that you had. And then you didn't do any work. And then when you get to the call, you're probably already over it, but yet you lost a whole work of things to do. I don't know. But I think coaching is needed. And
Yes.
if But what you said, you have to be coachable. If you're an agent with an ego like me and you know it all, coaching may not work until you find the right one. But you yourself have to get out of that mindset. You have to be coachable. You have to say you don't know it all. Okay, great. I talked to our coach the other day, and it was like I was having a thing, with running a husband and wife team is hard at times, all the time. And he was like, I've been there. This is how you approach it. This is how you do it. And it has to make sense. You have to stay in your lane. She's staying in her lane and she's coming to you and doing her job to you, and you don't like it. So you need to calm down, let her do her job. And if you want to make this change, then you need to make sure it makes sense for her to understand it, because in her eyes, it doesn't make sense to make the change and understand why you're trying to do it. And because I haven't explained it right. And I was just like,
Communication.
yeah, you're right. I haven't. I just say I want to do it and we're going to do it. And she's like, no, it doesn't make sense. And it's like, well, I haven't fully explained, hey, this is why we need to make this change. This is what we're going to get out of it. This is what the upside is. This is how much it's going to cost, or what it's going to cost us, or how much we're going to lose. But ultimately, this is why. And
Yep.
present the entire thing just like you would a client. You're presenting all the data, all the facts of trying to get that listing and whatnot to make those decisions. And it took a coaching call to make sure, you know, I could settle down, gather my thoughts, and present it in a different way.
But you said a really important thing there. You said the coach had been through what you'd been through. You chose a coach that has real life experience, that's still in production, that's ran a husband wife team, that can do, etc., has ran the businesses, has done whatever, so you can relate to that person. And if that wasn't the case, if you were talking to somebody that's just nationally known, that's never done X, Y, and Z, you wouldn't relate. You wouldn't have that respect for what they
Yeah.
said.
Yep. Yeah. So, to wrap up, our coaches needed, they're not for everybody, but I think everybody does need a coach. You just got to understand what you're trying to get out of it,
Yep.
and interview a bunch of them. Just don't settle for what these companies say, oh, this is the coach you're assigned to, and no matter what, that's who you got to stick with. Hell no, you're paying thousands of dollars, hundreds and thousands of dollars a month, a year, and get out what you want. Now I wouldn't pay in full. I made that mistake, paid in full, where I just wasted money because we didn't align, and now I'm stuck because I paid in full. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. Like, so look for those different things. I mean, I think every agent does need a coach depending on where they're trying to get to or what they're trying to do. Even if for agents who are trying to get out of production, right, and just be in leadership and team, I think you need a coach to transition that way out. New
Right.
agents, don't expect your brokerage to do it all for you, right? You got to go out there and do it yourself too. So sometimes a coach as a new agent will give you those perspectives of these different ideas and tactics outside of what the brokerage teaches you to see
Right.
if those things make sense, right? Because not every tactic that a brokerage preaches and teaches is the right one for you. Like you said, I don't like door knocking. I don't like doing open houses. I don't like cold calling. They're like, well, shit, Matt, what do you like to do? I like to talk to people. I like to network. I like to build relationships. I like
Hmm.
to, do XYZ. So when I talk to some agents that I mentor and stuff, and it's like, well, what is it that you like to do? Well, I like to make videos. Okay, good. Go make a ton of fucking videos, but
Yeah.
tell a story to it, right? Do this, do that, and start putting it out there. And I have agents who are crushing it just by making videos. They don't do anything else but make videos.
I'll tell you
It's
that
like,
I would like to add to that you don't necessarily have to go to a giant coaching company. What you need to do is identify what you think you need and then figure it out from there. If you choose to go to a giant branded coaching company, understand that's more for networking. And you could do that through a brokerage. But the other part being, figure out you first. You don't know what you need because you've never experienced it, so I get it. You can start with free things like YouTube. You can start with free things like $20 ChatGPT. But start with things and try to figure out, say, hey, I'm in this market. These are the things that I'm doing. What are other highly motivated business owners in real estate doing in my market that's working? Are they coaching? Who are they coaching with? All the things. Like ask the questions and go look it up and then say, okay, maybe I think I need that and
Yeah.
identify it first.
Yeah. You definitely want to start with the free stuff. You want to start interviewing before you just start spending money. I've been in this industry over a
Too
decade and I've
many
always
thousands
had a
of dollars.
coach. I've
Hmm.
probably spent over six figures on coaching and programs and group coaching and everything and all the things. And so I've been with several coaching companies, to try them out and see if it was something I liked or didn't like and what they had and what I didn't have. And I've learned at all of them. I'm not going to say I didn't. And sometimes we outgrow them, so we leave for a different one, right? Maybe we
Yep.
outgrow a coach, and it's fine to change. And so I always think you just got to have that coach in the corner, right? I mean, why do these athletes have not only their team coach, but then they go hire a personal coach to help them with their better shot or whatever it is that the sport they're playing, right? They have two coaches. They have one that's part of the team to do the strategy during the games and this and that, but then they have their own personal coaches to help them perfect that shot and their swing
Mentality,
and their
financial.
mentality and
Mhm.
things like that. And it's like, shit, we're business owners. We got to have these type of things in place too, you know?
I promise you that I've been in coaching for at least 6 years now, and there will never be a time going forward that I will not have some sort of a coach.
Yeah.
Always.
Yep. Always good. All right, guys. Well, if you like this, please share it, subscribe, like it. If you want our opinion on certain coaching programs, we've been with different ones. So, I mean, reach out to us and we'll give you the honest truth of our experience at those coaching companies and, whether it was great, wasn't great, what we got out of it, before you go spend thousands of dollars, hiring the
Yep.
wrong coach. So, all right,
Yep.
we'll see y'all next week.
Have a good one.